While there are some documents connecting UFOs and the White House and a few reports that presidents may have seen them, there's only one public admission. President Jimmy Carter was the first commander-in-chief to admit to seeing a UFO.
Carter was known as UFO president because he actually talked about his sighting. A UFO group had contacted him, wrote him a letter and said, could you fill out our sighting report? Jimmy Carter filled out the sighting report, and the rest is history.
Well, Carter himself said the incident happened in October of 1969 when he was down in Leary, Georgia, speaking at a Lions Club. He spoke very strongly about it. And one thing I think it also is very impressive to the public is the fact that Carter was a state legislator here in Georgia when he saw the sighting, and he went on record about it and spoke of it quite publicly. And even becoming governor and then later becoming president, he's never waffled on it. He's always been quite upfront about it. Yes, I saw something, and no, it was not. I could not identify it.
I don't make fun of people, who say they've seen unidentified objects in the sky.
He'll always say that he can associate with people who have had the experience, that he would never laugh at anybody who's had a UFO sighting because he's experienced it himself.
Carter's UFO report gives a vivid account of what he saw that night.
I never have tried to identify what I saw. It was, a light in the western sky. It was very unique. I never seen it before. So there were about 20 of us who saw it.
Carter said the object he saw was had firm edges. It was circular. It seemed self-luminous. It was about 1,000 yards away, and it retreated, and then it came forward, and then it left. Basically, when you talk about UFOs, people look at you strangely, and for that reason, I think a lot of people would not be willing to be like Carter and go on the line and actually fill out a report.
And he's never disavowed the content of his report, which tells me that Jimmy Carter, just as honest as a man as you'll ever find in or out of government, has left that bit of legacy to be savored by future UFO researchers who can point to it as a milestone in the fact that the government does know more than it has been telling about the subject. And this was enough inspiration for Jimmy to try to funnel out some of that knowledge.
While running for the presidency, Carter made campaign promises that he would release all he could about UFOs once he took office.
Well, no, but I would, make the information that we have about those sightings available to the public at any time.
And how did they try to hold Jimmy Carter to his promise? They wrote letters to him as soon as he got in office saying, Jimmy, you're now where you can fulfill your promise, please do so.
As many as 9,000 UFO-related letters from citizens reached the White House during Carter's term.
Naturally, he didn't answer it all himself, hardly any of it, but there were many people, some of them were interested in the follow-up to that 1976 promise, and others were just interested in telling their own little experience where they might have seen something that they wanted to go on record.
But some researchers suggest other reasons why Carter may not have been able to deliver on his campaign promise.
The CIA comes in and briefs the president on the most important intelligence stuff. And the person who briefed Jimmy Carter on the intelligence matters was George Bush Sr., the CIA director. Jimmy Carter asked for the UFO file. The story was that George Bush said, you don't have a need to know. This works on a need to know, and curiosity on the part of the president isn't sufficient need to know.
To those who claim that George Bush was briefing Carter on UFOs, I think the burden of the proof would be on them. I mean, there were other much more likely subjects for them to be talking about.
Regardless, President Carter did release UFO-related documents during his administration. The UFO community considers it the golden years.
Half of all the UFO documents, there's thousands of UFO documents that have been released under the Freedom of Information Act request over the last 30 or 40 years. Over half of them were released under 4 years of Jimmy Carter.
These newly declassified documents were sourced from numerous agencies. They contain information about many UFO sightings and the military responses. Access to the declassified material continues to bolster UFO research.